As promised, Chris, I've got my Oreos.
Nice. Did you get the Coke too?
I did. I have it here. They're little cans. I don't. Do they even sell regular sized cans?
I think they sell the little tiny cans and then also the like 16-ounce cans. I'm not sure that they made like 12-ounce normal size soda cans of this stuff.
So they wouldn't confuse people that just want regular Coke.
Yeah, it's not even. It's Coke Zero.
Yeah, it's Coke Zero. The packaging is really good.
They did a good job. Yes,
it looks very good. The colors are good. It's a black can of soda. Like, it's very good. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's like got little zebra stripes on it. Yeah.
I also like on the can. There's on the side of it. It says "Besties Forever," and then "Forever" is taped over or whatever with a limited time only.
Yes. Yeah, that's clever. Good. Well,
all right. What are we doing first?
I don't know. Let's do the soda first, since you and I are both more connoisseurish of Coke soda stuff.
Here we go. Ready? Oh, I immediately get a smell of Oreo. Immediately.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of cream soda, kind of. I don't know.
It's not terrible, and it definitely tastes like Oreo.
I don't know that I'm getting like super strong Oreo vibes, but like I'm definitely getting not normal Coke vibes. Like it's almost like vanilla Coke.
Yeah, maybe, but I'm definitely getting Oreo vibes.
Okay.
Is yours cold? Did you chill yours?
Yeah, it's refrigerated.
So I drank it warm on first sip, and now I have it in a glass with ice.
Okay.
It definitely tastes more vanilla-y cold. Like you definitely get more Oreo when it's kind of room temperature.
Oh, maybe that's the key here. Huh.
I can't say that I like it more than just regular Diet Coke or Coke Zero.
Yeah, I think it's very funny that they decided to make like, Oreo, which is a super sugary cookie, and then put it with zero sugar Coke. Like, why not make Coca-Cola Oreo, not Coke Zero Oreo?
I don't hate it, and that's really surprising to me.
That's shocking for you. Like, I, as we all know, well, maybe we don't all know, but you know that I will drink anything in my hand. But like, for you to say you don't hate it is shocking to me.
I would not choose to open another can.
Well, how many cans do you have?
12.
Okay.
So another one is not getting opened. At least not by me. I will say
Fair.
My girlfriend's probably going to be thrilled that these are open when she gets home so she can finally try them, because I've been saying, no, you can't open them.
Good. Well, now we finally have done that. My wife is just going to be happy that they no longer have to be in the fridge, because she's been looking at them for 6 weeks. And every time she's just like, why is that Oreo thing still in the fridge? Yeah,
it's not my favorite. I like the smell. I like the I don't know. I'm impressed, but it's not. I wouldn't choose to drink that all the time.
Right. No, certainly not. No, it's definitely a novelty thing, but it's not bad for a novelty thing. Like, it definitely could be worse. But certainly I'm not going to go buy another little 6-pack of these things.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. On to the cookies, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So what's the strategy for the cookies though? So like, are you like twist apart and eat it in separate, or like bite it all in one piece? Like,
ooh, good question. I don't know. I think I'm just going to take a whole big bite first. One like normal half cookie bite.
Oh, all right. All right. I'm going to try that too.
All right. So off the bat, I guess I didn't expect this. I should have by the packaging, but one of the cookies is red and one of the cookies is black or dark. And then there's the white filling in the middle. I am immediately overwhelmed with an overpowering Coke smell.
Yes. Yeah. The cola, I think the red cookie is supposed to be cola flavored.
Okay, here I go. Oh,
what do you think?
That's pretty good.
It's not bad.
And so it says on the packaging, so I knew it was coming. And I had also heard that it has popping candy on the inside.
Right.
And I expected like Pop Rocks, like big popping, like lots of popping.
Right.
But it's more of just like a sprinkle, a twinkle.
Yeah, it's subtle.
Of a popping. Yeah, it's very good. I like that.
Yeah, no, it's quite good. And then I think that the if you can get a little bite of the filling, just the filling by itself, the cream, I guess, it's very sweet. It's almost like cake frosting. Like, it's a very sweet Oreo filling, or maybe I just haven't had Oreo filling in a while, but I think it's different, the sweetness level.
The popping is cool. I didn't think I'd like the popping, but it's cool.
Yeah, I think they did well.
I put this in the same category, though. Nice novelty. Would not choose to eat this over just regular old Oreos.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. I mean, I like to usually do the Oreos in pieces, so you get the components, twist off.
Okay, I'm gonna try that second cookie like that.
Okay, I think the red is a little overpowering though by itself.
The dark side of the Oreo just tastes like regular Oreo.
Yeah, I mean the side that says Oreo on it. Yeah,
there's nothing special about it at all. I think this frosting is just going to be too sweet for me.
It is super sweet.
Nah, it tastes pretty normal to me. I mean, it tastes maybe a little sweeter than normal. But
okay, maybe I just haven't had Oreos in a while. I'll have to go find some regular Oreos and try them.
Man, the popping is so cool. It's so subtle.
It's good, but I always worry. Right now, I'm worried that it's going to pop while I'm talking into the mic.
Honestly, the red cookie by itself might be my favorite.
Really? I mean, I don't really like chocolate all that much. So regular Oreo chocolate cookie is not really my favorite. I like the cream of Oreos better than the cookies.
Yeah, I definitely like. Yeah, no, it's yeah. The red cookie was definitely really good. I don't know if the red cookie and the dark cookie are the same.
I don't think they are.
I don't think they are. The red cookie was definitely my favorite. Okay, well that was fun. I don't ever. So for listeners out that don't know, I don't ever try new food. I'm not a new food adventurous kind of person, but I drink a lot of Diet Coke.
Yeah, once we saw that this was a thing, I convinced Jason that we should try it.
I just had to do it. I mean, I had to. But I'm not upset that I did it. But it's going to go over to that side of the desk, and unlike Chris, I will not touch it again.
Oh, I'll have this little can finished by halfway through this episode. Good. Well, that was our first episode of P&A Eats. Tune in, like, and subscribe, and all that, and whatever.
We'll do another one in another 140 episodes.
Perfect. Welcome back to Pride and Accomplishment. My name is Chris.
And I'm Jason. This is episode 139.
Jason, last time we talked about going shopping and seeing things at stores and such. And I was at a store today and I saw something gaming related that was really interesting that I did not expect to see at a Target. Have you been to the gaming section of a Target lately? The electronics corner?
No, I talked about Target on the last episode because I went into the food section, but no, I did make it over to the gaming section or the TV section.
Yeah, it's over where the wall where the TVs are, but then they've got rows where they have, the row for PlayStation and then kind of also Xbox, and then Nintendo has its own row altogether. It's all red, so they have this blue row, the green half row, and then red an entire aisle. And then there's another row that's the PC gamer row that has light speed Logitech G whatever stuff and Turtle Beach headsets, which I always forget they still exist.
Yeah.
And gaming keyboards and stuff. I mean, it's weird. Just because you don't expect to see that stuff at a Target, podcasting microphones or streamer mics, they have them there at Target. Which again,
it's way more mainstream now than I think we remember.
I know. I'm dating myself here, but back in my day, right? This was, you had to get all this stuff special online. Now you just walk into Target and buy it.
And weirdly, a lot of people are using podcast quality mics as their normal gaming mic, which I don't really care for. I don't like that, but I know a lot of people that do it, so that's why they're there.
Yeah. Yeah, but that wasn't the thing that actually surprised me. The thing that surprised me was that in the little locked up case where they typically would sell consoles, right, PS5s or Xboxes or whatever, they had those things also. But in one of those little cabinet things all locked up, they had 3 or 4 different handheld PCs, like a Steam Deck, but not the Steam Deck.
Yeah, the what is it? The Rogue Ally and some of the other ones.
Yeah, exactly. They had the Asus one. They had the MSI Claw. They had the Lenovo Legion. Those are the 3 that they had. And they were just there. You could push the button and get the person to come unlock it for you and buy one.
I wonder how. I mean, that's cool. That I think. I think it's nice that those are granting a path into PC gaming. I wonder how much of the market they are. The Steam reviews that you always get, oh, what's your hardware? I would love to see what the market share of people that play Steam games. Like, how many of them are playing on a handheld? And then further than that, like, how many of them are playing on a Steam Deck versus some other handheld?
Yeah, I would imagine that's if it's not already, it's probably like a couple of quarters away from being included in the Steam hardware survey, because they must be able to tell. Like, if you have a 1280 by 800 screen or whatever, and always have a controller connected, maybe they can tell that way or something.
Were you tempted by any of the other options other than Steam Deck?
No, because right now I am happy with the Steam Deck because I don't have the OLED, and none of these also have OLEDs. They have regular screens. But I also don't want to mess with Windows because Windows doesn't have a handheld mode. So like, and Steam hasn't put out their like Steam OS or whatever in a good way that's compatible with all these other handhelds, even though I think they said they were gonna, but they haven't yet. So it's not like easy to just like get Steam OS and Steam full screen and all that running. I mean, you could do Steam Big Picture and whatever, but like the Steam Deck is just so easy.
Do these three that you mentioned, they all run like a version of Windows? Windows?
I mean, I think they run full Windows 11. Like, I don't think they're actually like any different.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They probably have some startup auto launcher that probably auto launches some launcher they have, or maybe Steam. I don't know which, but like there are some advantages to that because you could use Game Pass, right? You could do Game Pass on these, but also like, I don't know. It just seems like it would be fiddly, like all of it. So I'm still holding out for Steam Deck 2 OLED, which, doesn't exist and hasn't been announced yet, but watch, the Steam Deck 2 and the Switch 2 will come out in like the same week. Then
when did the original Steam Deck come out? Because they said they are not going to do like yearly refreshes. I suspect they're going to do every 4 years, every 3 years, maybe. How long has it been?
The Steam Deck was February of 2022.
Okay, and so we may see something February, March 23 or 2025. Sorry, possibly. I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah, I mean, somewhat frustratingly, 1 year later, like a year and a half later, the OLED came out. So it was November that the OLED came out, November 23. So yeah, we might be due again for something like February-ish of 25, which would be about the same time as the Switch 2, because of course it would be.
Yes, it would. If Steam Deck comes out with an OLED, like a Steam Deck 2 OLED, and Switch does not come out with an OLED, I may make a purchase. I don't ever use it, but I just feel like the point at which I start using it, I'm going to want the latest one, and I'm going to want an OLED. Okay, all this to say, Switch to OLED. Please announce now.
Yeah, right. Nintendo has been so good at teasing things and announcing things that are not the Switch 2. We didn't really talk about it on the show, but they did we're going to do a Nintendo Direct, and I think they might have even said it was going to be like hardware focused, and they did their thing where they like pre-announced it on Twitter like one day early, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, here it comes, here's Switch 2, and it was the Nintendo alarm clock. Did you see this thing?
Yes, I did. Who wanted this?
Nobody wanted it, but it is kind of a weird curiosity, and it's like the most Nintendo thing to do at all. Yes. It was like a motion activated alarm clock thing that plays like Nintendo music and game sounds and stuff to wake you up, and it's supposed to be like, oh yeah, as you get out of bed it detects that and then it automatically silences the alarm. It's like, okay, that's interesting tech, but like in $100 alarm clock that's branded as Nintendo, really?
Did you see what they said if in the FAQ? What if like I sleep, in a bed with two people, with my wife or significant other or whatever, and they said the alarm was only intended for someone that sleeps alone.
They know their market.
Yep.
Well, they have a button mode where you just have to do it like a normal alarm clock, where you have to smack the thing to make it shut up. But the smart sensory stuff, only works if there's one person in the bed.
There's no part of me that cares at all about that product. Yeah. I don't know what to say about it. I don't even know where to go with that.
I almost bought one.
No.
And I'll tell you why. I almost bought one literally just to have one, because they're going to stop making this thing in like 3 months when nobody buys it. And then in like 20 years, it's going to be like, hey, do you remember when Nintendo made that weird clock and I could have one? Like it's purely for the like FOMO opportunity, which I did not buy it, to be clear. I did not buy one, but I did think about it.
Usually I understand it. I'm like, yeah, Chris, okay, I get it. You're kind of it's a collector's item because this is too far. I'm glad you didn't purchase it, because then I would never let you live it down. You know what I would do? I would, every 3 months after they stopped making it, I'd be like, did you know Nintendo used to make an alarm clock? And you'd say, yeah, I have one. And we would just do that joke every time we see each other. And eventually it would get really old.
Probably.
But you didn't get one, so I don't have to make that joke.
I did not get one. No, I did not. But it would look so nice on my shelf next to my NES Classic and Super Nintendo Classic. Like, you'd have Alarmo right there.
You still have the opportunity to go get one.
I do, but then you'll never let me live it down. So
that's exactly right. Yes.
The deterrent has been described.
The choice is yours, Chris.
Anyway, that wasn't the thing I wanted to talk about Nintendo. They did another thing where they announced something out of nowhere that was a total surprise, and it wasn't a Switch 2. This past week, they did like a little video and whatever, but they announced Nintendo Music, which is a streaming service, I guess. Like, it's a music streaming app from Nintendo for Nintendo games only.
Yeah, I saw this make its rounds on the tech and the video game news. And who asked for this?
Nintendo really wants to spend all of the effort they can not releasing a Switch 2. Like, they're just heart set on not coming out with the Switch 2. Like, what else could we come up with that isn't a Switch 2 that we know everybody wants, that we could do right now? And it's like, really? Like, just clear the deck, get the Switch 2 out there, and then do all this other stuff so I can ignore it while I play my Switch 2. But anyway.
At least the music thing is centered on an idea that, like, fits a little bit. The clock is like, no one asked for that. No one asked for a piece of hardware. That is a clock. The music, at least you can think in your head, yeah, Nintendo has some pretty cool music. Video game music is cool, and Nintendo has a lot of good video game music. Like, at least there's like a bit of a basis where you can like work your way through why they did this. I don't understand the clock at all. But, I listen, for me, this is cool. I don't pay for the subscription. I think you'll get into, I think you do maybe, or at least you did. But if it's not on Spotify, it doesn't exist.
Yeah. This I do pay because, remember, you get the little game voucher things that you can buy only if you're subscribed. And actually this past year, I think I forgot that I was subscribed. Because it's only $20 a year. We talked about this before about how PlayStation Plus is way too expensive, and the Nintendo thing is like $20 a year. So it's very reasonable. So if you are a Nintendo Switch Online subscriber, you can get this app and log in with your Nintendo account, and then it basically just has like a home screen that has different Nintendo, things. Like they have, you may also like boss battles from Pikmin 4. Like, it's just like a thing about boss battles from Pikmin 4, music from them. Pokemon battles. There's a whole playlist for just Pokemon battles from Scarlet and Violet.
Oh, that's pretty good.
They have different characters, so you can go by, if you want all the songs about Zelda, or, you want the KK Slider songs from Animal Crossing. Like, they have all of that stuff. It's all like categorized, like sliced and diced, kind of any way you could think of, which is kind of weird. But it's fun. And I don't hate that they did it. The one feature that has one like killer app feature that I think is really good, and that is the customizable duration for their tracks.
I've heard about this. So, and this fits perfectly with the video game element of it, right? Because when you're playing a video game, the game will loop the music depending on like how fast you're progressing through the level. And they took essentially that, you could call it technology, or that like the basis of that idea, and said
it's called audio looping. It's not really technology.
No, but like there's an element to it. Like when you cross a certain point, it adds a certain instrumentation and all that. And I don't think it gets that advanced in the looping in the app, but like that sort of thing in video games, right? Like where you can continue to loop, but add elements to it and add tracks to it as you cross certain points. That's a very like foundational music element of a video game, right? But I love that they just said, hey, like we loop music in video games. Why can't we just do it in an app for as long as someone wants to? And that's pretty cool.
It's very cool. Yeah. Like I listened to 15 minutes of Rainbow Road the other day. Like you can, because like the default is like a 2.5 minute song because it's just a 2.5 minute song. But then there's this little button in the bottom center that says extend to ... And then you can choose default 15, 30, or 60 minutes. And then you can get an hour of just the Rainbow Road music over and over and over again if you want, if that's your thing.
So DuckTales Moon theme?
It's not on there because it's not a Nintendo first party thing, but yes, I would do that. Except they would probably use the original from the Super Nintendo, which is in like chiptune, and it's not. It actually gets a little annoying after a little while. But yes, that's the kind of thing I would have been looking for. But actually, the Mario Kart music is really good. Like the title screen from Mario Kart or Rainbow Road or any of those are pretty good. They also have title screens from like Super Mario Wonder or Super Mario Odyssey or, you know, any of those. Not all tracks can be extended. So like Jump Up Superstar from Super Mario Odyssey can't be looped, which I think is a bit of a missed opportunity, although you could just repeat the song over and over again because that's what it would be. But this is a really cool feature, and I don't know, nobody asked for this, but it's kind of neat.
It's kind of neat. I'll give you that on this one. Not on the clock.
You can also download songs. So if you're, you know, going on a flight or something and you really want your Nintendo music, you can download songs to your device. So they like didn't just do this out of nowhere. Like they put some effort into this.
It's kind of neat.
One thing I did see, and you probably did too, was the commentary about the, like, what does this do to YouTube, right? Because there's all those YouTube, like, here's a 3.5 hour long loop of, you know, Zelda music or whatever. Like, is Nintendo now going to go after them and be like, we have a thing that does this, so you can't put our stuff on YouTube?
They already have started.
Really?
Yep.
Oof. Okay.
The news channels that I watch have already started to say and comment on how the DMCA takedown notices have definitely spiked in the last couple of weeks.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it plays out, I guess. But the music app itself is pretty good.
I saw a video on YouTube the other day.
Okay.
That said, and I'm going to keep with the music theme. Are you ready?
Oh,
that said,
all right.
if you normally play Factorio with music and or sound turned off, now is the time to turn it all the way up. And I couldn't agree more because the music on the new planets in Factorio has been killer.
I agree. Yes, I have only experienced a couple of them, but they are good. Yes, I like them.
We promised last episode that we would get into Factorio. We actually talked about what we were most looking forward to, and I went back and re-listened to that a couple days ago to remind myself what I had said on that episode. And I have, I don't know, new opinions on stuff, but I don't know how you want to attack this, Chris, but obviously we have been playing Factorio nonstop. I wish I would have looked right before recording, but obviously I stopped playing in order to record because that's how I do things. And I think we were approaching the 100-hour mark on our save. Does that sound about right?
That sounds plausible. I don't know if it's right, but it sounds plausible for sure.
I know we had crossed the 60-hour mark a few days ago.
Okay, then yeah, we're probably pretty close to 100, if not there.
Now that does count. So Chris and I are playing on a dedicated server that he is hosting. So any moment that he spends on it that I'm not there, it counts. Any moment that I spend that he's not, it counts. But I would say 75% of the time we have been playing together at the same time. Not necessarily on the same planet doing the same thing, but logged in at the same time.
Yes. Yeah, we have actually been, after the first, 10 hours or so, we've been kind of off on our own a little bit, doing not totally separate things. So like if you longtime listeners will remember when we played Minecraft and I complained a lot about people doing things separately at the same time and why are we even on the same server and what's the point? I'm not getting that vibe as much here. I mean, like maybe a little, but like not, there's no what's the point to it because there is a point to all of it. And I think that's the difference of us
there's
playing
clearly
together.
a singular goal, like a singular purpose, right? And right now, for at least most of the game so far, it has been science and like research production, which is really what you're pursuing for the first forever of the game. And each planet, even though each planet is separate, you need all of them together in order to advance. So it's been, yes, we have been doing different things, but it's been very clear that we are pursuing the same goal.
So do we want to like talk maybe about the different planets and different kind of like experiences or like phases or whatever that we've kind of gone through so far? Maybe.
Yeah, I think, I mean, obviously we started on Novice and a lot has changed in so much that you get a rocket way earlier.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We had a rocket in like under 10 hours, like, which used to be the whole point of a 100+ hour Factorio game. We did it in no time at all because they made it so much easier. I think I said they made it 100 times easier to get to even just build it out of materials, in addition to changing the research so that you can research it way sooner. Rockets are not special anymore. And I think that's actually really cool as like a metaphor for real life, right? Because like you get rocket launches, like SpaceX is doing rocket launches like every week now. So they're not as special. And in Factorio, you can launch a rocket like every 45 seconds if you want to. So they're not special either.
I think 45 seconds is probably an overestimation. I think in certain cases we launch one every like 15 seconds. But yeah, no, they're I was really impressed with how rockets worked out to be. They are, for anyone that's played Factorio, you understand like bots and moving things around and it being a logistics network. Rockets are just another piece of the logistics network puzzle. Like they transport things from the surface to space, like, and you put stuff in them and it transports them, and it can all, like, most of it can be automated, and it is just like a vessel to move like goods, right? Like for items or whatever, right? It's just a vessel to move things now. It's not, you don't pursue it as an end game thing. It is just another step along the way to transport things around your factory. Your factory just happens to be on multiple surfaces of different planets now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really neat the way that they worked it in, and it feels really good. Like that's really the key. I remember the moment that we were looking at the rocket, like after we built our first, from the rocket you build a space platform. So maybe we're transitioning now into space as a concept, but you build this like seed of a space platform, and then I remember when you first looked at the space platform and you saw the UI that was a copy of the train UI, but on the space platform, and just
that hit me. That hit me hard because we had played Space Exploration, which is a mod for base Factorio, and there were space platforms, and I was like, oh, cool. So you're in space. It's kind of similar. Like, you know, there's a major difference in that, like, you don't have to be in space. It's kind of automated. Like what you build is kind of automated. Whereas in space exploration, you had to actually go there and build stuff until you got bots up and running. But so it's a little different in that you didn't have to go to space. It was kind of remote. But it didn't hit me until I opened up the UI and saw that not only is it remote, but you build this platform and you can put thrusters on it to make it a moving platform, right? To go between places. But then you can schedule it just like you can a train. And I was like, oh, these aren't just, this isn't just space. These aren't just space platforms. These are space trains.
Yep.
And that opened up a whole new thing for me.
Yeah, well, that was really cool. And then you, Jason, still managed to not go to space for another like 30 hours.
No, and let me talk about why, because I actually really wanted to bring this up. So with space, right? Space platforms they're not expensive, but they're not complicated. But like to build a platform in space, just like one square of platform, I think it's like 10 steel. And you need
it's a lot.
Lots and lots of platform, right? So you just churn through steel, and steel churns through iron, and iron churns through iron ore. And one of my complaints about base Factorio, if you remember and go back and listen, was that you never got to a point on the starting planet, Novice, where you needed to expand to other resource nodes, right? Like you very rarely needed to go past like the second closest one. And very early in this playthrough, I was like, we are out of iron. And then pretty soon after that, I was like, we are out of our second iron patch. And I don't know if you know, Chris, but we're almost out of our third and fourth iron patch now too.
Oh, I haven't been keeping track.
We are churning through iron. And and it has driven this need to really set up good logistics networks on the starting planet, to use trains on the starting planet. Like, no longer is it an option. Like, you can't just be like, we'll suffer through it. We'll just build a really long belt. Like, no, like it's getting to the point now where like we're having to really expand our base outwards and like really start to capture some new like resource nodes, which just wasn't a requirement in base Factorio. So that has been huge to me. It has led me, though, as Chris noted, to spend a lot more time on the starting planet than I think I intended to, because I have optimized and optimized and optimized to make sure that we can, and this is the important part, I've done a lot of work to make sure that we can keep sending those rockets, because they are an integral part of the network now. So it's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of fun work for me. I've actually really enjoyed how much time I spent on Novice. But I did eventually leave. And we could talk about that in a little bit. But I did eventually get off the planet, but it took a lot of forcing for you to be like, hey, you gotta go. You gotta leave it.
Well, because one of the things that you told me, I think off the air, but like one of the things that you told me was that you wanted to go to space this time, because when we played space exploration, you didn't go to space really at all. And you said, I want to do this. I said, okay, I will make sure it happens. And I did eventually make sure that it happened.
I'm happy I did. We'll talk about the planet that I went to in a little bit, but I'm happy I did. I got to experience some new stuff. I will say I very much went through, well, we'll talk about it in a minute, but I very much went through the phases of grief when I got to that new planet.
Oh my gosh. Okay, before we get there, we can talk about my experience on the other new planet, maybe. Or do we want to talk about, is there anything else you want to talk about space platforms themselves?
I like the challenge they provide. And maybe that's true kind of as a general note. Like, as you go to space or you go to these other planets, they did a really nice job designing each of them to feel unique.
Yes.
On Novice, you kind of have as much space as you want, but there's a little bit of tension with the biters, and there's some other tension with trees and a little bit of like, how do I get around water and landfill, but generally very open, right? You go to space and you can be as big or as wide or as large of a platform as you want, but there are trade-offs. So you can choose to be a very large platform and like build a huge thing, or choose to, make one that doesn't move around and is just like a station rather than a platform that moves, like a frigate or a train or whatever you want to call it, right? Just don't put any thrusters on it so it can stay in one place. And you can make that choice. And then, space doesn't really become a problem, but there's a resource consideration to space. Space in the terms of like platform area, and so it feels different, and you get these constraints of like, I have to build things very tight together, and I have to capture and use every nook and cranny that I can find, which again is very different than how I play on Novice, right? I'm always like, leave more space, make sure there's a gap between your factories, like make sure there's space, because you always need room to expand. And when you go and build a space platform, you are not like that. You are, every nook, every square of that thing is filled. And that's just a very different feel. And I think that extends, and maybe you'll talk about it on Fulgora in a second, and I'll talk about it on Volcanus. each of the places you go have a very unique, different build style and feel on how you tackle things, and I love that.
Yeah, well, I'll jump in to Fulgora, which is like the first planet that we went to for a very particular reason, which is that it unlocked the super cool flying mech armor, which we were very motivated to get. But before we could do that, I landed on this random planet, and on Fulgora, it's like flipped of what you'd expect. So like typically you're like daytime solar power, nighttime no solar power. You got to put, if you want to use solar power, you have to have batteries or accumulators. But Fulgora is completely the opposite, where it's lightning storms at night, and it's like lightning storms that are so dangerous that you can't be unprotected outside at night. You have to build these little like lightning rod tower things that will keep you safe. And then the lightning rod tower things, you can connect them up to power poles and connect those to accumulators, and you can basically just harvest electricity out of thin air and put that into the batteries, similar to how solar power works, but it only happens at night. And the day-night cycle is flipped, and so it's like twice as long night than day, and it's a different vibe, and it feels like, kind of scary and foreign, but there's no enemies on Fulgora, so it's kind of perfect for me because I really don't like military in Factorio. So I was having a grand old time.
Yeah, that worked out. I did not realize that when you kind of decided to go there, and I said I'll stay back. But that ended up working out because I was kind of taking care of the biters on Novice and continuing to optimize, and you got to capture lightning over there on Fulgora. I will say, as you got to Fulgora, I realized very quickly that one of the main features of this expansion of elevated rails, you were going to get to experience first.
Oh yeah, that's true. I did.
And I'll be honest, I was a little jealous, but I had my time.
Yes. Yeah. The cool thing about it is that it does unlock it everywhere. And I don't think that elevated rail supports and such are anything special. Like you could build them on Novice, like you can build them anywhere. I have not done anything particularly cool with elevated rails. Like they are cool, but like the thing that makes them really cool is if you're like a JSON level train designer person and you can make like 2-level intersections, which I could not possibly think about doing. So I look forward to at some point seeing your like insane logistics network train invention with those.
We'll get there. I got to get back to Novice, but yeah, we're there.
Right. Yeah, that's another interesting point. You just said back to Novice, right? So you take the space platform to another planet, you drop yourself down to the planet, and then you're stuck there because you can't fly a rocket silo back with you. Like you can fly the stuff to build a rocket silo, but you can't fly an actual rocket silo with you. So like you have to bootstrap yourself back up to being able to send a rocket back to your space platform so you can go home to Novice if you want to. Which took me, I don't know, forever to actually go back to Novice. But the nice thing is they severely overhauled the like remote view and like bot interactions and like all the stuff you can do from afar because they knew you were going to be far away. So like they made it easy to control stuff from far away. But you find yourself spending lots of time off Novice.
Yeah. Yeah. With that, I mean, I know you experienced it and I experienced it as well on Volcanus. You don't start from scratch because you have a lot of technology that you didn't have when you started on Novice right at the beginning, but you basically start from scratch.
Yeah, you feel like you're very like beginning of the game, you have no furnaces and no mining drills and no anything. You have to like hand mine stuff and like, put together however much you can, kind of scrounge together to get yourself off the ground a little bit. And then obviously you're going to be inefficient and non-optimal when you're doing all of those things, which bothers one of us more than the other. But I will say I ended up with 3 distinct little bases on Fulgora before I kind of landed on the one that I have right now that is relatively balanced in terms of production and such. But I left all the old ones there as little museums to their previous existence, which I know you wouldn't have dared to do.
No, destroying unoptimized stuff is probably one of my favorite part of this game.
So on Fulgora, the unique mechanic of Fulgora is that there's only one resource that you can mine. It's scrap. So scrap is kind of like an omni resource, I guess, and you process it in these little recycling machine things. and then it turns into 12 different items, 10 or 12, in varying proportions. So it actually turns into like refined material. So like typically you have to like build up, you start from iron plates and copper plates, and you go to copper wires and iron gear wheels and, green circuits and red circuits and blue circuits and whatever. This scrap stuff, blue circuits come straight out of it. Batteries come straight out of it, like fully formed, ready to go. So like it changes the like order. It kind of flips the order of like what's important and what do you have to make or deal with. But also it's got like this whole trash mechanic where you end up with 20 times more iron gear wheels than blue circuits. So you got to figure out something to do with iron gear wheels. You didn't drown in them. So that's really where the fun comes in.
You'll drown in them and lock up the rest of your production, right? Like if something fills up, it can't continue.
Exactly. Yeah. Cause I do kind of the sushi belt thing where you make like a little circular belt and then, have the stuff kind of keep going around and have like some arms that pull some stuff off. But if you didn't do that and you did it with splitters and belts and stuff, you could still, as soon as one of those belts backed up, you would back up the entire thing and it just deadlocks and like everything stops. And you have to figure out kind of what to do. I mean, fortunately, as long as you're there, it's easy to fix that because you can just pick up some stuff off the belt to kind of unstick it, and then that'll help some of it. And you can like, take some stuff out of a chest or take some, like you can fix it manually, but it becomes very tinkery very quickly if you don't create systems to automate dealing with the quantities of stuff that you're talking about. Because they make you continually get more scrap because you have like a 1% chance to get the one little thing that's the unique resource for the Fulgora of the planet. You have a 1% chance out of the scrap to get it. And then you have 99% of the stuff is all this other junk that comes out of it. And you have to figure out what to do with all the rest of the junk. So it's been an interesting challenge, and it really changed your whole like way of strategizing about what needs to go where and how things get made. And like, I don't think at all about how to make green circuits. How to make green circuits for me on Fulgora is dissect blue circuits back into green and red circuits. Like, it's not start from copper plates and whatever. It's the other way.
I now that you say all this, I'd be interested in, like, we should finish this playthrough and then we should play again and then switch roles where I go to Fulgora and you go to Volcanus. I'm also very interested. Like I said, I kind of tried to go into the expansion pretty blind, not super blind, but pretty blind. And I have been watching playthroughs of other people playing like a Let's Play of Space Age, but I've always stayed behind them. So like, we get the research, I then do what I think I need to do, and then I watch what they do. And I have not actually seen anyone do Fulgora yet. So I'm very interested in how other people tackle the problem that you're tackling. I think you've got a solution now, but I'm interested in how other people have tackled it. Really what I get down to is I feel like your solution is throwing a lot of it back into the recycler, almost in hopes that it would just go away so that you don't deadlock. And you have so much junk there that I think you have to do that. But I can't think of another way to do it. Like, I can't sitting here think of another way to do it. So I want to go watch a streamer to see what they did.
It definitely feels wasteful, like when you're thinking like,
yes,
let me take blue circuits and turn them back into red and green circuits, because you're like, blue circuits are so hard to make on novice, right? Why would I throw them away? Like, low density structures, like, you can dissect those back into iron plates, copper plates, and plastic. Like, why would you do that? Because they're so hard to make, so expensive on novice. But it's a different kind of value system, like different scarcities. Like, it's hard to get copper plates and copper in general on Fulgora as compared to novice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was me. We did get the flying mech armor, which is cool. Total game changer. And that is what kind of enabled you to take your trip to Volcanus.
I would not have continued playing the game if I did not have mech armor when I landed on Volcanus.
Jason would have just uninstalled. Like, this was a good experiment. We're done.
I would have said, I am not playing this game in this state. We need to figure something out. Let's go find a mod. But we did it in the right order because we got the mech armor. It's one hint that I had heard from a streamer that said, hey, go here first to get the mech armor. It will make your time on this other planet much more friendly. And let me just tell you, dear Lord, did it fix, or did it did it allow me to enjoy Volcanus? Because Volcanus's unique thing are twofold. One, lava everywhere, which are essentially lakes that you can't fill in with landfill, that produce a unique resource called lava that you use. And that's kind of one of the main like production mechanics. But the other like main thing, or I guess two other main things about Volcanus, is that there are cliffs everywhere. They are as abundant on Volcanus as trees are on Novice. Like, they are everywhere. And you can't do anything about them until you do some research on Volcanus. You get some cliff explosives, and then you can start to take care of them. But if you have this mech armor, which Chris and I got first, you simply just jump over them. You can't build on top of them, but they at least don't get in your way as you're walking around. And they are so prevalent that I think I may have rage quit if I didn't have this mech armor. So that's good. We did the right thing. I'm very happy in the order that we went. But the third really cool mechanic on Volcanus, there are enemies, but they are, in my opinion, the coolest implementation of enemies that I have seen in this game, because they're giant, like dune-like sandworms, but they're like volcanic lava worms instead. And they roam a patch of land that is outlined on the map that is like their territory, right? Like a big sandworm, or a big lava worm, like literally patrols the edge of its territory. And they're very hard to kill. They're very big. They take some very high powered, weapons to kill, which we have. Like, we have to be careful, and you have to do it carefully, but we can kill them. Once you kill them, that territory is yours. It's like free and safe, and like doesn't get invaded by enemies, which is a very different feel than Novice, right? Novice is all about biters, and biters expand and they take back inventory, and they're constantly kind of attacking you and poking at your walls. Whereas on Volcanus, I don't have to build walls. I don't have to build defenses. As long as I don't build into a worm's territory, it doesn't attack me. And once I kill it, I claim that territory as free and safe. So that was really cool. And I really like that. I think that's a really good way for me with enemies, is like, I have to choose to go attack them. It's not going to be an easy battle, but I am choosing to go do it. And once I do, and once I win, that area is safe. And I no longer have to worry about it in that area again until I need more space to work in. And I really like how that works.
Yeah, it's like playing on peaceful mode, but it's like not peaceful mode. Like, it's built into the game.
Yeah.
That was one thing we debated, was whether we should play on peaceful mode or not when we started this one. And there was a time where I felt like we should have done peaceful mode, or it should have turned off enemies on Novice, because they were starting to get really annoying and just like really just like, I don't want to deal with this. Because I personally, I don't derive much joy out of doing anything military in Factorio. But I'm glad that we did it, and I'm kind of glad that we have them. And now Jason has engineered some things so that they're mostly under control, so we don't have to do much with them very often.
Yeah, I'm interested. So the third planet is Gleba, which is a very like organic kind of planet. I'm interested in what the enemy situation is on that planet. We have not been there yet, but I know that like I know that organic life and I don't know if they're biters or if there's other enemies, or whether they're peaceful or whether they attack. I think it may have to be a team effort on that planet, which so far we have kind of done our own thing on each of the planets. But depending on the enemy situation on that planet, we may need to have to team up a little bit. And, you would kind of take care of production while I take care of defense, or something along those lines. Because I don't think it's a peaceful planet.
I think you're right. And I think that sounds great. I was going to suggest that we kind of go together to that one, because I don't know. We kind of did the together thing in the beginning, and now we've done the kind of like apart thing on the two different planets, and then we can do the together thing again, and then the fourth planet, which we haven't really talked about, but like that one I think is going to be super together. Like that one's going to be like huddled together for warmth together. Like literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's a frozen ice planet.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for that fourth one. I actually didn't know much about it prior to the launch. I knew a little bit about the other planets, but Aquila, that last one, where what do you pull out of the ocean? You're pulling like liquid something,
liquid methane or something, or I don't know, something super cold.
Yeah, and that's your like base resource on that planet, which is really cool. And you have to keep everything warm, like we said last episode, and I'm looking forward to that planet a lot. I'm really nervous about Gleba. Gleba's all about like agriculture and like organic growth, and I'm sure it's all going to be like really long production times, but with really high yields. If I had to guess, and I just don't know how I'm going to feel about it.
That's the next thing for me, though. Like, I'm really excited to go to Gleba and try it. I think it's going to drive you crazy because I don't think it's going to be able to be set up as a super grid of like full coverage substation power things and like all of that. I think it's going to be a little bit more like, you know, ad hoc and guerrilla, like, you know, build around the vines kind of a thing. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know what to expect there. I think the spoilage mechanic there is going to be the real big thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I also like, and this goes along with the unique feel of each planet. But obviously, like we said, each planet has its own science and it leads to its own technology that kind of is based on that planet. But there's also an element of each planet has something to contribute to the larger objective. So like we said with Volcanus, it's got this lava mechanic and this lava production, and it creates things in a foundry instead of like an assembler that is much more efficient, right? So you can only build the foundry like factory or building on Volcanus, on that planet, but you can transport once it's built to other planets. The thing for Fulgora is, I remember as soon as I saw, Chris has kind of unlocked the technology, and I said, hey, you've got electromagnetic labs there. Electromagnetic labs are 4 times as fast at creating circuits and have an inherent productivity boost, which is huge. I mean, it just takes the time and the effort to build green, red, and blue circuits, and it cuts it down and it makes it way more efficient. But again, you can only build those electromagnetic labs on Fulgora. But I was like, can you please send me some on Novice? Like, please? So loaded them up into the space train and sent them back to Novice, which each planet has something like that. Each planet has something to contribute that you can only build there, but you really want to utilize in other areas, which has been really cool to like, especially because Chris and I have been separated, but also because I think as we get further and further into the game, we're going to know like, oh my gosh, we really have to ramp up production on certain things. And now that we've been to all 3 of the inner planets, we have to utilize the benefits that we've, kind of earned on each of them. So it's really well balanced, and they did a really nice job, and it all comes together so well. And I'm really impressed with the game design of the expansion.
Yeah, they definitely did a good job with the design, and not just the design, but also for a big launch like this, like it's been rock solid for us playing multiplayer, solid. Like knock on wood, but like it's been rock solid the whole time. Like we've had no trouble with the server, no trouble with our clients. Like, we played Factorio together like this before, and there've been no trouble with that either. But when you add like an entire new game to the game, like you think there might be some desyncing or something, but they seem to have done all of the beta testing that they needed to do because it's been really, really good.
I could keep talking about Factorio, or we could go play Factorio.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking like this is a good time to get back into it and maybe go to Gleba.
Yeah. So we're going to do that. And you can get in contact with us and talk to us about Factorio and all of that good stuff by joining our Discord, which you can get to at discord.pnapodcast.com.
If you want to find our show notes or any of our older episodes, you can visit our website at pnapodcast.com. That's P, the letter N, the letter A, podcast.com.
If you're enjoying the show, we'd love if you could share it with some others that might enjoy it as well.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll talk to you next time. Did you get affected by the Discord Halloween sound effect pack thing?
I did. I like when they do this. It was a surprise, but I enjoy it.
I turned it off so fast. Like, I did not enjoy it at all. They just put reverb on all my Discord sounds. They made them sound weird.
Yeah, they're spooky.
No, they're not.
I don't know. I liked them.
Look, if they do this for Christmas and they replace all the sounds with like jingle bells, I'll probably leave that on because it's festive. I don't actually like Halloween that much, so that's probably playing into this. But like, I don't think these were particularly spooky. And if they were particularly spooky, I wouldn't like it because we don't like scary here.
Yeah, they weren't scary. They were spooky. There's a difference.
Okay, fine. But like, I still don't think like they didn't replace the sounds with like an organ playing the entrance sounds or something. Like it wasn't, they could have done more to make it more worth keeping, but instead it's just like weird echo on the sounds.
Okay, well, if there was a Bah Humbug equivalent for Halloween, that'd be you.
Probably, yes.